Alright, welcome to another Clash Bash video. Today we're going to go over a few of the common cards, what they're really good at, what they're not so good at, when to use them, and some basic combos. So first up, this is my current battle deck and what I'm using. So we'll just go over a few of the cards here, starting with some of the common ones. So the first one we'll look at is our classic archers. So that spawns a pair of archers for a cost of 3 elixir. They're good because they can target air and ground units. It's always important to have a few cards in your deck that can take down those pesky minions and also the baby dragons. Because if you're running all melee units, you're going to run into some issues against air decks. So besides that, they are great for distracting knights and to an extent Valkyries. One trick is the Valkyrie that spins and hits multiple units. If you place your archers to the left or right side of the Valkyrie, it means her spin will only hit one of the archers. So it's a little bit of placement thing there. If you place the archers directly in front, the Valkyrie runs straight into between the middle of them and get them both at once. So it's important to consider how you place those archers because they will spawn side by side by each other. Same thing up against the bombers. You want to place them slightly to the side to try to evade some of that area of attack. Next, one of my favourite common cards is the Spear Goblins. Very similar to the Archers, except this is a cheaper cost, and it spawns 3 units instead of 2. So by my count, that makes them overall a better unit than the Archers. The only downside is that the 3 units are very close together, and a single bomber can take out the stack of 3 in a single kind of bomb threat. That's where they really struggle. Next up, the Knight. The Knight is very flexible. He is a little bit tanky. He's definitely no giant, but he can certainly fend off a tower for a little while to provide some meat shield for your archers and spear goblins and things like that. Also very good for kind of tanking up against a charging prince. He will survive the initial charge generally, and just allow you to kind of distract the prince a little bit there. Next up, we'll move on to the Giant, which is my kind of preferred tanky unit that I've got unlocked. Biggest thing with the Giant is timing the placement. He's going to move slow, and you really want him to come up on the enemy tower with some backing behind him, because he's going to soak up the damage, and he does do quite a bit of damage to buildings, but you'll really take out towers quickly if you've got some units backing him up. The best strategy that I've got for that is, especially if you're going to start offensive first, if you've got him in your opening hand, is to place him back down level with your tower, which will give you, another 5 elixir or so worth of charge time before he hits the halfway mark to back him up with some more units. The unit I most prefer to pair him with is the Musketeer. Long range thing, basically an enhanced archer. Very strong damage. If she's sitting behind the Giant hitting on the tower, it's pretty much done for. Moving on to some of the units that I don't currently use, there's the Goblins. Very quick moving like the Spear Goblins, except melee. Reason these aren't in my deck is because I've got the Goblin Barrel, so I can actually throw a bunch of these Goblins directly at the tower, so I don't need a separate card in the deck. I've only just unlocked also these skeletons, which are really cool because they're only a 1 cost. Very good for distracting big units like a prince, like a skeleton, a giant skeleton, or a P.E.K.K.A. Great for distracting those. The reason I'm not using it yet is simply because I've only just got it and it's only level 2. Once I get them to level 3 or 4, I think I might swap something out in my deck for them. Other common cards here are the minions. They also not using them at the moment because I've only just got them to level 3 today. I haven't kind of played with them too much. But coming up against them, I've never really had much trouble. Between having archers and a musketeer in my deck, they're usually pretty easy to take down. So not much of an issue there. So I think that covers all of the super common cards that everyone should kind of have at this stage of playing the game. Obviously, there's some other cards here that I've got that I haven't really talked in too much, but they're mostly rare and epic cards that you may or may not have, and I'm going to probably dedicate some future videos to going over them in a little bit more detail each. I just wanted to give a quick overview to some of the common cards.